In the passage we will look at today in Matthew chapter 14, the disciples find themselves in another storm as they're crossing the Sea of Galilee. It hadn't been too long ago that they had tried to cross the Sea of Galilee, and a big storm blew up on them, and the waves began to crash over the boat. They were about to sink. So they wake Jesus up, who was asleep in the boat. He stands up, speaks to the storm, and says, "Peace, be still." And the winds and waves obeyed him, and the disciples were amazed when they realized that even the circumstances that were buffeting them obeyed Jesus. Well, now, this is another story. Jesus has just fed the 5,000 men plus women and children with just a few loaves and fishes. He has sent the disciples in a boat. He told them to go to the other side, and he went up in the mountainside to pray. But now, as the disciples are trying to cross the lake, the wind is contrary to them, the Bible says. It's buffeting them. It's beating them up. Jesus comes walking to them in the wee hours of the morning. He walks to them out on the water. When they see him, they are terrified. They think he's a ghost. But Jesus says to them, "Do not be afraid. It's me. It is I." And you remember the story. Peter says to him, "Lord, if it's really you, then tell me to come to you on the water." And Jesus gives him one word: come. If I'd have been Peter, I would have wanted Jesus to expound on that a little bit, but just on that one word. Then Peter steps out of the boat and steps out on the water. And Peter begins to walk for a few moments victoriously over his circumstances. But you know the story. It wasn't long. He starts looking at the wind and the waves, and he begins to sink. He cries out, and Jesus saves him. This story illustrates for us today that one day you can be walking in fear, and the next day you can walk in faith, and the next day you can walk in fear again. And so it all depends on what you're looking at. So today, I encourage you, keep your eyes on Jesus, keep your eyes on his word and his promises, and keep your eyes off your circumstances. So until next Monday, be encouraged, and remember, Jesus is Lord of your circumstances.